When a ninja becomes the Hokage of the village of Konoha is easily the biggest moment of their ninja career. They've been acknowledged by their peers for their power and their wisdom, they've been approved by the feudal lord, and most importantly, the people of the village have given their respect, their trust, their future to the person who has the Hokage title. In my latest installment of the Hokage legacy, I looked at Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, so it's only right that we take a look at his successor, Tobirama Senju, better known as the second Hokage. Last time we looked at Hashirama's Hokage legacy through the lens of sacrifice, which lines up with Hashirama's true nature at heart. But sacrifice is not the word that we will use to describe Tobirama or his run as Hokage. Instead, Tobirama's run as Hokage would be defined more by force and by caution, two very conflicting natures. Tobirama by no means was the strongest Hokage, but force is the right word to associate with his Hokage legacy, especially when you couple it with caution. Everything he did as Hokage was about establishing Konoha as a strong military force to be reckoned with. We actually saw glimpses of this when he forcefully spoke up twice when he was Hashirama's advisor. The first time telling him not to appoint Madara as Hokage, but to instead put it up for a democratic vote. And then once again during the first Kage summit, he told Hashirama that they need to sell the Biju to all the other ninja nations and that just giving them away was not something Konoha should do. In the time since the Hokage title was established, Tobirama had twice forcefully pushed his ideals to the top of the table to be discussed. It was a sign that Tobirama, if he were to be Hokage, he wanted the village to always be the one in control, forcing its will onto other nations while also at the same time trying to foster goodwill with those same nations, goodwill where Konoha just happened to be the one calling the shots. Tobirama is often credited by many fans as being the creator of the Ninja Academy, which is true since the academy was used to train the next generation of ninjas to be used as weapons to defend the village in the future conflicts. It was a response to the realism that though clans had united under one umbrella in Konoha and other ninja villages were forming around the world, war was something that would always exist in this era. But instead of it being proxy wars between clans, it would be nation against nation, village against village. Tobirama envisioned the next generation being able to force this reality that Konoha was the strongest village if push came to shove, if war continued onward. However, what some fans overlook is that the Ninja Academy actually started under Hashirama Senju, but it was still Tobirama who actually created the academy. He just didn't do so as a Hokage. The first Naruto data book as well as the first Naruto fan book writes that the Ninja Academy was founded after the 5 great villages were set up. We see Hashirama in a flashback before Madara attacked the village, where it shows that Tobirama's Ninja Academy had already been set up at that time. However, it would be during the chaos of the First Great Ninja War that a man who believed in force would be forced to become the Hokage when Hashirama Senju would die of unknown causes during the First Great Ninja War. Now, in response to this call to action, Tobirama would take the academy system and the ninja setup of Konoha and he would drastically revamp it, introducing the tuning exams for the Genin to be tested even further, which likely was to make sure that they were truly ready to be deployed into the chaos that was the ongoing First Great Ninja War. On top of that, Tobirama would also go on to create the Konoha police force, which we know happened when he was Hokage and not when Hashirama was Hokage. Unlike the news about the academy, which Hashirama is confirmed to have known about because of the flashbacks, when he was told by Orochimaru during the war that Tobirama set up the police force, Hashirama was blindsided by it. Tobirama, a man who believed in force, used the police force, which consisted of the Uchiha clan, to keep shinobi in his village under his control, forcing his rival clan to police other clans while also trying to force the Uchiha clan away from the tragic downfall of giving in to their true nature as Indra's descendants. It was a public sign of trust, while also hoping that the cursed fate of the Uchiha clan could be avoided by rediverting their energy into something like this. However, while Tobirama was a man who did believe in force, he was also a man who understood the need for caution. Even though he found a way to strengthen the ninja village via the tuning exams to further test and strengthen ninja through hard battle and calculated battle experience in the exams, he exercised extreme caution via the formation of the police force. If any of those refined ninja got too out of line, too out of pocket, they would find themselves being detained by the village's police force. Tobirama rightfully suspected that there would would be some, like say Setsuna Uchiha, who would plot to have Tobirama removed at some point, which I've talked about in another video, and Tobirama would practice even more caution as Hokage, very likely as a direct result of this. During the time before and during Hashirama's run as Hokage, Tobirama Senju had begun working on the Edo Tensei, a ninjutsu that directly violated the laws of nature itself because it brought people back from the dead. And after having pushed the forbidden jutsu as far as he could, Tobirama as Hokage classified it as forbidden ninjutsu. Now, looking at it strategically, it was a forbidden ninjutsu that, like I said, violates the laws of nature by bringing back dead warriors of the past. If there was ever an Uchiha incident, like say an Uchiha insurrection like Tobirama feared in the back of his mind, Tobirama by himself likely would not be able to hold off the Uchiha clan alone. It's never confirmed, but given how cruel Tobirama can be in his calculated methods, I could see this very cautious man wanting to display a show of force by reviving his brother to fight the Edo Tensei, and if need be, he could go to the grave where he thought Madara Uchiha's body was buried and revive Madara Uchiha. But again, this is only an idea only. Another part of Tobirama's legacy that you have to view through the scope of being cautious as well as displaying force is that Tobirama was leading his ninja village through the first great ninja war, but he was too cautious to overlook the threat of war at home because of his understanding of how the Uchiha worked. He hoped that by giving them the responsibility of the police force that it would quell those issues, but he also created the Anbu Black Ops, which can be viewed through the scope of being adjacent to some degree of the Uchiha clan's new responsibility as the police force. It was basically a countermeasure set up for a countermeasure. However, you can't always try to foster goodwill between nations and individuals in one breath and then turn around and make contingency plans against those very same people. In all of those scenarios, there will always be someone who grows to distrust you, like say Setsuna Uchiha like mentioned earlier, or how during the peace talks with the Hidden Cloud Village, you had the Gold and Silver brothers who attacked that 5 Kage summit and nearly killed Tobirama and the second Raikage. What should have been a peace treaty ended up with Tobirama hanging on for his dear life, betrayed by ninja from the very same village that he had tried to broker peace with. It would be in this aftermath that Tobirama would once again see his dual natures conflict in Tobirama's final moments as Hokage. This very cautious leader was surrounded by the Kinkaku force. For all of Tobirama's plans, the only way to escape was to sacrifice either himself or to sacrifice one of the ninja that was in his care. In the end, Tobirama would put the Hokage title in the hands of Hiruzen Sarutobi, forcing him truly to become a man, and a man who throughout his career as Hokage and had countermeasures stacked up one after another, only had one plan left to use: stay alive long enough for the third Hokage to escape. For a man who thought as far ahead as he could, it would be his tendency for cautious countermeasures and force that would continue to define his legacy as Hokage long after Tobirama's death. His plan to help the Uchiha clan by making them the police was viewed by so many people as marginalizing the clan, especially within the clan itself. His Anbu Black Ops would be used during the time of the third Hokage to spy on the Uchiha clan, and eventually the Anbu will begin to have their duties overlap with the Uchiha police force, slowly rendering the Uchiha police obsolete. His show of military force will be watched very closely by Hiruzen Sarutobi, his successor as Hokage, the very same Hokage who would go on to start 2 ninja wars, the second and the third great ninja war, and his cautious, good-willed intentions towards the Uchiha clan would be drastically misunderstood and perverted by Danzo's ideology, which would lead to Danzo ordering the execution of the Uchiha clan and forcing Itachi to massacre the clan. Even Tobirama's Edo Tensei, something that he developed and made a forbidden jutsu, likely as a contingency plan of some sorts, would go on to be used as an integral part of the 4th Great Ninja War. Ironically, it would be a war started by the very same Uchiha clan that Tobirama tried to help and miscalculated in his efforts to do so. A man of caution and a man of force, 2 dual natures that were conflicting against one another, would embody his run as Hokage, producing a lot of great for the village in the form of the academy, the police force, the Anbu, and the tuning exams, but it would also plant the seeds for the very conflicts that he and his brother hoped to avoid with the Uchiha clan later on. However, that's gonna be it for this installment of the Hokage legacy. Let me know what you remember Tobirama most for. Up next, we'll be looking at the 3rd Hokage's legacy. But, as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching on to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.